Well, mid last year, the Seton College community was shocked to find out that the school was to close by 2024. It's prompted the SOS Inc, which is the Save Our Seton College Inc group. It's formed and it's filled with current students, past students, teachers, friends and family who are all protesting the closure. There's an online petition that has over 1,500 signatures, and I'm joined now by Raylene Moore, who is the Secretary of SOS Inc and a parent of a student. Raylene, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Olympia. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Look, what's going on, Raylene? You found this out last year, in July last year. What's happened since then?
Well, basically, we've banded together as a group of parents and concerned past students and current students to try and reverse this decision. We believe it's extremely important for all families in Brisbane that this school stays open. It offers a service that no other school on the southeast side of Brisbane can match, and pretty much no other school in Brisbane offers as wide a range of services as Seton does.
So for people out there who aren't familiar with Seton, just give me a bit of a rundown of what they offer.
So Seton's been going for about 64 years. It's a Catholic school run by the Brisbane Catholic Education, and it's been designed for students that need some extra help, whether it's because they have a disability such as physical or mental impairments, or just because they might have something like dyslexia or ADHD, which isn't necessarily a verifiable or an obvious disability or challenge, but they just need a bit of extra help with their schoolwork.
Sure.
So it's a smaller school. It only has a maximum of around 320 students, which is great for the kids who have conditions such as autism and sensory issues. They're not overwhelmed by the large groups of people and the noises and everything that you have at another school. And sensory issues are quite important to some of these kids because if they become overwhelmed by noises and things, then they can't function.
Right.
Seton also tailors its classes to suit the kids. So if a student is struggling with one particular area, then that's what the teachers will help them with. Whereas in a large school, the teachers just don't have the time to do that sort of thing. They can't adjust the curriculum to suit a student that has dyslexia or a student that can't sit still for a whole class. Seton can work with these kids and help them get the best education that they can get.
So there's clearly a need for this school. So what's the reasons that you've been given from Brisbane Catholic Education as to why they want to close it down?
The reason they're giving is that enrolments have dropped, which is untrue. Year before last, so 2019, Brisbane Catholic Education announced that they were changing the enrolments for the school and that they were going to, instead of being an inclusive school where they accepted students that had verified disabilities and some that didn't, and some that just had a need for a school like Seton, they were now only going to accept students that had verified disabilities. So where in previous years they'd had enrolments of up to 86 students for the grade 7, they dropped it down. This last year they only accepted 22.
And
so the enrolments didn't drop due to a lack of interest. They cut them.
Yes, okay. Is it correct also that Seton didn't have an intake for grade 7 this year?
That's right, it didn't. So there were students enrolled who were ready to start at the school, and as of mid last year they were told, no, sorry, you'll have to go elsewhere. And for those students and their families, it's just been devastating.
Do you know how they're coping?
We do. One of them that I talk to regularly, her child is not coping. She applied to around about 25 other schools, most of them Brisbane Catholic schools, and was knocked back. She was eventually, due to BCE intervening, accepted into a school, and they have not given her child the support that he needs. They've not given him any of the extra teaching or the help that this child needs. So he's unable to go to classes a lot of the time, or unable to go to school at all. So it's only been 5 weeks or whatever it's been that they've been at school, and he's missed a whole heap of that because he just can't cope with it. He's due to his disabilities, and that's through no fault of his own.
Raylene, is inclusive education working or not?
Inclusive education is a wonderful goal, and it would be great if we can get there at some point, but Queensland is just not ready for it. To send a child that has sensory issues, that has autism, that has ADHD into a school with 800 or 1,000 kids, it just doesn't work. They get lost, they get overwhelmed, they get bullied, they get harassed, they can't keep up with the schoolwork, and so they just gradually start falling further and further behind, and they then become completely disengaged with school. There's a lot of current students at Seton who did try mainstream schools, and it was just either too difficult for them to keep up, or they were bullied and harassed and didn't want to go to school anymore until they found Seton.
Yeah, understandable.
And now they're thriving.
So SOS Inc, you've now hired lawyers.
We have.
And what do you hope to achieve by this?
Well, we're hoping to stop BCE from closing the school. That may sound like a pie in the sky theory, but even if we can't stop them, we can at least bring this this problem out into the open, so that the Education Department for Queensland sees how big an issue this is and how important it is, so that we can get specialty units at other schools. If we're not going to have Seton, God forbid, then at least let's put the support and the necessary tools and teachers into other schools to look after these poor students that need all the help they can get.
Is that the next step for you to take now?
Look, our focus is keeping Seton open. That is our first focus. If that doesn't work, then yes, we will be lobbying the government to put in place more support and more teacher training and teacher numbers in general in mainstream schools and other schools, and also to get other schools like Seton opened up. If there's obviously a need for it, so there's a potential for other schools to be opened.
Yeah, absolutely, that's right. Well, how can people get involved? You've got quite a very, a website out there. You've got the Facebook page, you've got the petition. How can people find out all the info?
Yes, so our website is saveourseton, seton.org. You can go there and you can join as a friend of Seton. You can join as a member. We're always looking for people to help. We've got a lot of work ahead of us to get this out into the media and to help lobby politicians and things like that. So we would take any help we can get from people who believe in our cause. And you can also, find us on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. We're out there and we're willing to fight as hard as we have to save this school.
Absolutely. Raylene, thank you so much for your time this afternoon, and all the best with the next steps.